A blessed Friday to us. I don't know how would you react if you hear somebody saying that a few months from now the world will end. Well, the gospel reading says precisely that you do not know the time or the hour or the day when it comes. So the best thing to ask, to say to that person who says, who are you anyway? You know? But anyway, there is one interesting dimension or segment of the gospel reading today, which somehow I don't know if you're aware of this. We're talking about the wise virgins and the foolish virgins. Now, when the time came for the bridegroom to be met, the foolish ones asked from the wise virgins some of their oil. A very negative impression of the wise not giving to those who were foolish. Isn't Christmas, Christian values something about generosity? I don't know if it came to your mind when you hear this or when you are reading the gospel. Kay nganong gitawag man to sila wise unya, dili day sila mutabang, dili day sila muhatag, dili day sila magpaambit. Well, it is a very tragic question, but the real answer to this is the oil that we're talking about actually is or are the fruits of the things and the deeds that one does while, because we're talking here about the final judgment, while one was still alive. Yes, it is a merit that each and every individual Christian deserves or actually earns. So that is kept for the person himself. That is not an act of selfishness, by the way. It has something to do with what the person deserves or what each and every one of us deserves. And it cannot be taken away from us. And that's the reason why the foolish ones were called foolish, because they were not able to save something for themselves while they were still alive. And it's an interesting thing to be ridiculous in understanding this when they also went back in order to buy oil. Napag yun na maligya, no? There are so many things that this parable actually is so mysteriously crafted. But the real thing here is being wise in the eyes of God has something to do with what has already been done, no? Which is already earned and which everyone deserves. It's not an act of selfishness. My God, it's not the understanding. It has something to do with what we already have done and what we are ready to face. We are ready to present before God, who in His kindness and His great love will always receive who and what we are before we face Him in the time. Muna nga, wa na'y mo balik. Kay mangita pa og, no, mo-earn pa og oil, extra oil. Because this is already a parable about the final judgment. And one thing is, this kind of story that we find, that we have in the Gospel of St. Matthew, only found in the Gospel of St. Matthew, is in the last chapter for the so-called Passion narrative. And today is Friday, tomorrow is Saturday, tomorrow will be the last time during the ordinary days that we will be reading St. Matthew. And come Monday, karong Lunes buhon, we will be reading the Gospel of St. Luke. In other words, to take a look into the scriptural experience that we have in our daily masses, we already have read the Gospel of Mark with its beautiful and different characteristics. And then the Gospel of St. Matthew is about to be finished. And then we are entering into the third Gospel, which is the Gospel of St. Luke, before the liturgical calendar ends. And it also has something to do with preparing ourselves for end times. That's why to be prepared, to be always aware of what we're going to do. Because what we earn and what we deserve will always be ours and cannot be taken away from us. Amen.